enjoy that salary cap bump?
Yeah, it was I said Brandon Shore and Max Napolitano do a really good job of, kind of trying to forecast what it'll be over the last few years, and we didn't have it that high, so it was good. But at the end of the day, you can't let that drive your decision. Still, it helps, but you're still it's a player-driven market and stuff, so you still work through that as you kind of go through it.
Where do things stand between you and Tua's representation in attempts to strike a long-term deal?
Yeah, we've been in communication since the offseason began. I'm going to talk to his agent here this week. So our goal is to try and see if we can get something done. Ryan's been great, Tua's been great, so we'll see. But there's no timeline on it, because at the end of the day, you know how these deals get done. They're complicated deals, and building the team through free agency as well. So we'll work through it and see if we can get something done.
How would you categorize, in terms of just laying the groundwork right now or making progress? Where do you think the talks are?
Appreciate the question, but I don't never talk about where we are in terms publicly of what we're doing. So we're having discussions, and I'll just leave it at that.
You mentioned the cap going up at 10% bump, it seemed like. Does that mean quarterback salaries all go up by 10%? Is there a direct correlation that maybe what Tua would have asked for 12 months ago could be different there?
I don't know. You'd have to ask him that or his agents. I think at the end of the day, when those things happen, obviously people get excited and stuff, but you just, you try and work through it, and you have rational discussions with people. And as agents, as representations, are really good people. We've had great conversations. So at the end of the day, what he's looking for in terms of, because the money went up, does that drive his salary up? I don't know. You'd have to ask him.
Do you believe that you guys get a deal done this offseason?
I think we're hopeful. Again, when you go through these things, you guys have all been around and you've seen other teams that go through that. These are deals that very rarely come together quickly. There's a lot of pieces, moving parts when you're doing it. So, we've had positive discussions so far, and we'll keep working through here throughout the offseason.
Both you and Mike have used the phrase that Christian has earned the right to be a free agent, which is the same wordage you used with Mike Gesicki last year. Would that suggest you guys are inclined to not apply that tag on Christian?
No, I think all options are on the table for us. I'm going to meet here with Christian's agent this week. Dave and I have always had good conversations, but I'm just being very transparent with it. He has earned it. He's had a great season, and so we'll see what happens here as we talk here over the next couple of weeks.
Chris, what more did you need to see from Christian, if anything, this year to solidify that extension? What was the disconnect?
No, I think, like I mentioned before, we had conversations and we were close on a deal last offseason, and it didn't come together. And so for us, we know what Christian is as types of person and player, what he brings to the organization. So for us, at the end of the day, it's not what he had to do. As we were talking and trying to build the team and put together a roster of just trying to work together to find something that was fair to him and to us. And at the end of the day, we tried, and the agent acknowledged it was a very fair offer and felt good. And so we'll see where that takes us this offseason.
From your standpoint, though, you're not concerned. You believe you have the resources to get a big long-term deal, not even a tag if you have to, Christian.
Yeah, we can. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we could.
What does having a quarterback that's not on a rookie deal anymore do as far as affect to the rest of the roster building process?
Yeah, no, it's all you guys have seen it around the league. You guys get those guys on the rookie deals that allows you to do things that we've done the last few years to go get guys, whether it's Tyree, Bradley, et cetera. And also for us moving forward, we have a lot of good young players coming up too. Still, from Jalen Waddle and Phillips. So it's just, we have probably 5 or 6 guys too that we're talking to that are going to be guys, candidates for possible extension, and see if we can do something.
So does that force you to say, oh, hold on a second, we're not in every single thing anymore. We're not able to add Tyreeks like we used to. Or,
Well, it's a challenge, but I think the one thing that Brandon Shore and Max Napolitano have done when we talk is we're always looking short term and long term, and so in terms of having some flexibility and how contracts are structured and stuff. So again, yes, every year you can't go make those moves, that people get excited for help your team, just because you've seen it around the league. It's not sustainable. At some point you have to reel it back a little bit, and then add some youth and influx, and then cherry pick here and there where you go. And so, we've been looking at all different ways in terms of building this and keeping our roster competitive.
Does concussion history play a role in the consideration on Tua in terms of contract length and guarantee?
No, I think for us it's, again, every player deals with certain things, and even you've seen this year, look at all the quarterback injuries around the league, and there's other quarterbacks or good players that have had multiple seasons of injuries too as well. So the one thing that Tua did is he attacked the offseason with wanting to prove that he could stay healthy, and spending the time learning to fall and the jiu-jitsu and stuff, and it paid off for him.
Because I know you're obviously very well aware that your team has to free some more cap space in order to become one of those players that doesn't have any guaranteed money. Kind of speculative if Kevin had to deal with Baker. Do you anticipate him being on the roster in 2024? Do you anticipate reshuffling the contract there?
Yeah, we'd love to have Baker here. I think the big thing for us was to have the new defensive staff come in, spend time watching the team, watching the defense as a staff together. And then once we have those discussions with the defensive staff, Mike and I will get together, and then we'll make that decision here in the next couple of weeks.
With some of the other injuries at linebacker, Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb, what's their expectations for the beginning of the season to be back? And did those injuries kind of affect or throw off your offseason plans in terms of draft and free agency?
Well, it threw off the playoff plans, that's for sure. I said, losing guys like that late in the year is always hard. At the end of the day, we don't talk about the medical history or where guys are in terms of their rehab. I will say they're both in the building attacking it every day. So it's been good to see those guys, and they support each other working through it, as well as all our other injury guys. We had a number of guys. Of course it makes it challenging because now, we have to have guys ready to go here, start a training camp and do it, and just the timing of the injuries were later, but they're working hard, and hopefully we'll get them back at some point there.
I want to get your thoughts on the decision to part ways with Xavier now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a tough one. Xavier and I had a long conversation because he was the second player I drafted here in 2016, and he and I have been through a lot of stuff here, and we were just talking about how proud I was from his early when he first got here, some stuff he was doing behind the scenes to help himself become a better player, and then all the stuff he had done as a player and a leader helping us on the field, and so we had a long discussion, and he understood it was a business decision, and at the end of the day we just felt it was right for him to have this opportunity for his agent to go see what's out there for him, but didn't close the door on us. We said we're going to stay in communication and as the process goes and see what happens, and left the door open for him possibly coming back here too.
Chris, kind of sticking on backs and cornerbacks. We saw Jalen kind of suggest that last year did not go about what was expected. So I know Jalen was injured for half the first half of the season, but was that more or less what you guys expected when you brought him in, that outfit and how they were used with the injury?
I don't tell coaches how they should play guys. And we have discussions when we bring players on, and you always talk about what skill sets fit different guys. Vic's a very good coach. Jalen's a great player. So at the end of the day, how players felt about different things, I wouldn't really know, and I wouldn't feel comfortable talking about it. And I also don't think it's fair to either one of them. Not knowing, I think that's something for you guys if you were to talk to each one of them how they feel. But I thought the opportunity to have those two players together on the field, no matter what we're playing, made us a better team. And when they're out there together, it showed, because the defense was pretty good when they're playing out there together.
Chris, the three starting interior offensive linemen from last year when Adam Williams are all free agents, how realistic is it that you might be able to bring back all three?
I would say it's a definite possibility. We had some discussions with Robert's representation in the middle of the season, and completely respected his willingness to go to free agency. And again, you guys, I say that term, but he'd earned the right. And I love Robert. He's a good kid. He works hard. He wants to be good. And I would say, Isaiah's been in every day rehab in the facility. He said he loved it here. So we'll see if we can get something done there. And then same with Connor. He's just going through his rehab right now through it. He's a free agent, and we'll see where that goes. We're giving him his space and time. And he just wanted to focus on rehabbing right now. But we'll stay in touch with all those guys and see where it leads.
He's kind of piggybacking off of Connor, if I could. Has he had any talks with you guys about whether he wants to play, like continue playing?
No, he just, if Connor's a very prideful guy, and he felt like he let the guys down getting hurt. That was out of his control, and that's what you love about him, because he's very competitive and he loves ball, and he just wanted time to rehab and focus and get his mind clear, and we're giving him that space. So we just told him there's no pressure on him, and he'll communicate, and him and his agent will communicate with us when it's appropriate.
I guess the same token for Teron. You have a decision to plan what you do at that left tackle spot.
Yeah, no, Teron and I had a long conversation before he left for the Pro Bowl, and he said he wanted to be very fair to us, and I completely respect him because I think he's earned that right. So we just said we were going to talk before the start of the league year and free agency happened, and he was going to let us know plenty of time where it is, so it doesn't affect us. But we're preparing either way, so you have to. But love Teron and would love to have him back. But listen, he's done so much in this league and what he battled through last year to play for us that we're very respectful and really appreciative of him saying that he was going to let us know well before free agency started, so we could plan.
Is it possible you might have to go sign for starting offensive lineman in a couple of weeks?
Possibly. At the end of the day, I thought Butch and Mike and Frank did a great job developing those guys. So some of the younger guys there that we have on the roster, the guys are excited for, see them in another year here going. Those guys made a great leap this year, and they're excited for some of the guys and what they could be in the future. But we'll definitely end up having to add some players there at that position.
Yeah, FLPA survey came out today. Dolphins are number one. Want to get your reaction to that?
Well, I think it's a testament to Steve Ross. Just for what he's built in terms of the facility and the people he's allowed us to hire, and when you have a building like that and you get a survey and you finish top rated like that, I think that shows just the quality of the people from Dave Paloka and strength, Kyle Johnson and training staff, Megan and the dining staff. But it's a very collaborative. Everyone works and talks together, and the players feel that. We're very communicative with the players and telling them hey, what can we do better? What can we do? So I was very excited for it because I know last year when we got number 2, guys were like, oh, how do we not get number 1? So again, that just shows that, with Steve, because right away that last year Steve was like, oh, we're number 2, what can we do better? And so I give Steve a lot of credit on that for driving us to be the best in the business.
Mike? So, combine specific question. How much value do you place, or what value do you place in judging a 40-yard dash? And how have you seen that specific drill and its results evolve over the past decade or so?
Yeah, I think it's important, but at the end of the day, nothing replaces field speed or play speed, because as you guys all said, when we drafted Jarvis Landry here years ago, everyone's like, how can you draft a 4.75 receiver, and then he ends up with 1,000 yards, good player. So I think nothing replaces that football speed and competitiveness. Everyone uses GPS times now and all that stuff, and we have programs that measure it, but at the end of the day, those things will help guide you. But again, when you watch Achane play, you see the speed, and so The combine here, it has its purposes. For me personally, I like it more just for the interaction with the players and getting to know the players.
Mike has often said,
All bad, just to follow it. But because of the existence of GPS tracking, you know how fast a guy can move along the team. So you're saying the value of the 40, it's more that you can be down there talking to these guys and kind of socially interact rather than the results itself.
Well, I think Armando's been around me longer. It's like I came old school with Coach Parcells. It's like the underwear Olympics. So for me, it's the getting the medicals on the guys are very important, and then spending time really digging on who the players. We've seen so much film on most of these guys, and you kind of have a feel for them. But I will say, doing the workouts and being out, you also see who's competitive. And so for me, the guys that do all the drills, I always like that because it shows, okay, this guy's here to compete. He's not worried about, if I run fast or slow, or if I don't do this drill right, like teams are going to hurt me. Like this guy's basically saying, F it, I'm going out here and this is football and I'm just going to compete. So for me, I appreciate those players, especially in this day and age where people telling guys not to. So when those guys, and I don't judge anyone. Everyone has their own situations for why they do or don't do things or play in all-star games, etc. But those guys that go to the all-star games and do everything, play in the games and stuff, or play for teams that aren't in the playoffs and play in the bowl games like Georgia last year. It was a shame what happened to Georgia, Florida State. The Georgia kids, most of them played, and the guys from Florida State didn't. And so for me, when I watch those guys, and it's just a little more of a like, okay, this guy loves ball, and he's not worried about, what the ramifications, which could be significant for some people. But at the end of the day, he's like, I love my teammates. These guys helped me get here, and I'm going to play. So I just put a little more stock in it. But I'm also not going to skip over an all-world talent because he didn't decide to play in the Mayo Bowl or something, So
Mike has often talked about how great of a learner Tua is, and how he's noticed that being around him. I'm curious, looking back to when he was here and you were analyzing them then and compared to now, especially after last season, how confident are you that he still has like exponential ability to grow?
Yeah, that's a good question because Mike and I had talked about that a lot, and we're strong believers in him, and you guys all feel Mike's passionate about him when he talks about him. And just in the 2 years of what he's done, he's grown in areas and to where he led the league in passing and did some great things this year. And we all feel there's still another level that he can take it. And I think if you ask Tua, he would tell you that too. And so just his growth on and off the field, like being voted captain last year, and then seeing how he is, behind the scenes with guys and holding people accountable is huge. So I think the way he's attacked this and wants to be great, and the combination of Mike and working with that and that trust and belief in each other, we do think there's still another level we can go.
You have a talented roster that seems on the precipice of winning playoff games, You've been building towards this moment. Do you think it's fair for me to suggest, or are you on the same page, that with that first round pick, probably thinking more safer, contribute this year for sure, as opposed to higher ceiling, little more risk project?
I think at the end of the day, we take at 21, so you'll always take the best player. And if it's someone that, even if it's that position that, and I don't want to speculate any position, but if it's a position people think we're stacked at, you never know. Like last year when we said our outside linebacker group was really deep, and the things happened. And then, the receivers, Waddle went down a little bit. Tyreek got banged up. So, yeah, in this league, the way the injuries happen, you need depth everywhere. So, you can have the safe pick, but if there's a guy that you truly believe is a supremely talented player and loves football and will work to reach that ceiling, then it's up to us to spend the time and invest in them to find out, and then you just make that decision you feel is best for the roster, not just short term but long term as well.
Are you committed to using that first round pick, or are you still open to possibly using it in trade?
Well, it's us. I think you have to be open to everything. Like if it's a possibility of moving up or moving down for something to get in a better position to get a player that we may say is a home run for us. We're definitely open to moving up. If someone wants to drop to our spot and we move down and pick up extra picks, very open to that too as well.
Chris, where do things stand right now with Van Ginkel?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we've been in touch with his agent. It's been good. He's been in the facility rehabbing like crazy and running around on a scooter. So we always joke. So he's a really good place. He's been working hard, and we'll continue to talk to his agent here and see if we can get something done.
You know that Mike Tannenbaum went on national TV and said you should trade Jalen Waddle, which seems weird, except for the fact that you guys worked together for a long time. So are you going to trade Jalen Waddle, or would you consider that?
No thoughts of trading Jalen Waddle. We want him here for a long time, and we think he's a big part of our now and our future here. So he's a great person on and off the field, and we still think as good as he is, he still has runway to keep getting better.
There's
a couple final questions.
I don't think I've got more fan questions about the player than I've got about Cam Smith. What happened his rookie year, and do you still think he's going to be a starter for this?
Yeah, no, I think we're very excited about Cam. I think last preseason, you watch his preseason stuff. He played very well in the preseason. Got banged up at the end and came back, and at the end of the day, learning Vic's system early. If you look at his history of guys with young players, it takes a little bit. And so he worked hard, and by the end of the season, we are really excited about it. And talking to Jalen Ramsey the other day, he was saying how he loves Cam's game and thinks he's going to be a good player. So no, we're very strongly believe in him. I think last year was a couple of things. He got banged up a couple times, but contributed on special teams, did some good things. But I think I talked to him probably about 3-4 weeks ago and called him at like 8:30 in the morning, and he was in the middle of a workout session. So he's attacking the off season. So we're all very excited to see him with an opportunity to play, but he's gonna have to compete and earn it. Cater's not going to give it up to him. So it'll be good, and then obviously we'll be bringing in some other people here too, and maybe X is back. Who knows?
Chris, I wanted to ask, I didn't know this. It's going on already. Concerns on your end, or some of the incidents and stuff that's happened up in the past year or so.
Yeah, we were made aware of it. We were in communication with NFL security, so really can't comment on any of that till all that stuff gets. We get all our information and find out what happened. But for us, Tyreek has been a good addition for us, and but in terms of all the off-field stuff, we'll have to get all the information before we can really comment on it.
Chris, you mentioned a little earlier about the timeline for Tua and that deal. But have you guys talked about what it would mean if there was no deal by the start of camp for the season? For him, his confidence and belief in him, everything that goes with the security of a long-term deal.
Yeah, no, I think everyone, if we can do something, would like it done before the season. But you've seen over the last few years, some of these other big deals have gone all the way into training camp. Because there are complicated deals to put together with the money and stuff people are talking about. So, I think Tua's a professional. I think he loves his teammates. He loves Mike. But again, players have the right to do whatever they do at that point in the spring. But we'd anticipate him being here, being around as we work through it. And like I said, we'll stay in communication with his agent.